Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Amy Jung. Multiple agencies are coming together this morning to highlight some new efforts aimed at fighting human trafficking ahead of the World Cup coming to Seattle. The event starts in about 6 weeks here. 6 matches are set to be played at Lumen Field as part of the largest World Cup tournament in history. Organizers and city leaders say preparations are already underway across the region, including transportation planning, security coordination, tourism outreach, and support for local businesses. Visit Seattle projects the tournament could generate nearly $929 million in economic impact for King County and support thousands of jobs. The first match is scheduled for Monday, June 15th, and Seattle's final match is set for Monday, July 6th. King 5, of course, will have everything you need to know leading up to the games and during the matches. But part of the preparation is the effort to combat human trafficking. And right now, the Port of Seattle and local law enforcement are joining forces to announce an initiative that will help prevent human trafficking during the World Cup. So right now, they're about to start a press conference where we're going to hear more about that. Let's go to that right now.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing on this beautiful sunny Seattle summer day? Thank you all for being here. My name is Sam Cho, Commissioner of the Port of Seattle, and I want to thank you all for joining us today to discuss this important topic, one that is near to my heart and something I've prioritized in my time here as a Port Commissioner. As you all know, this summer, Seattle will host the Men's FIFA World Cup, a global celebration that will bring the world to our doorstep and put our region on the world stage. As we prepare to welcome hundreds of thousands of visitors, creating opportunities for tourism, economic growth, and a chance to leave a lasting legacy for those who live here, we also recognize the very real threat these events mean for those who are trafficked and have survived trafficking. Human trafficking is a despicable trade happening right here in our community, and we know that major events drive more incidents. That's why we are gathering here today, to share how each of our organizations are preparing for this moment and to remind the community that you can also play a role in disrupting trafficking. The Port of Seattle is uniquely positioned to be a leader in these efforts. Our role, operating both aviation and maritime gateways, and our ties to more than 500 employees operating those facilities mean that we have the opportunity to build awareness and education on this issue. As part of our readiness strategy, we've recently updated signage throughout the airport terminal and maritime facilities. This signage will provide resources for reporting and getting help in 8 different languages. That signage includes QR codes created by survivor-led organization 24/7 and helps those being trafficked report their situation and understand their rights in their language. We introduced this tool in 2024, and in 2025, the QR codes were scanned more than 1,100 times in 14 different languages. This has resulted in at least 4 investigations by law enforcement. Another important piece of work here we're proud to have is we recently rolled out a partnership with BEST, Businesses Ending Slavery and Trafficking, who is here with us today and will speak momentarily on the Destination Hope communications campaign and training toolkit. This free toolkit is available in English, Spanish, and French to match the languages of the 3 FIFA host nations. It provides organizations that may not have existing anti-human trafficking resources or communication plans simple tools to get started. Through port funding and a grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation, we're very excited to have resources available now and to start sharing more broadly, particularly with those other airports around the country. So far, we've had people from the faith community, healthcare, the maritime industry, and more than half a dozen airports in North America reach out to us for more information and download the tools. Lastly, we've been emphasizing a training refresher course ahead of this busy summer, equipping port employees and airport and maritime tenants with the knowledge and resources for spotting signs of human trafficking and properly reporting it to the Port of Seattle Police Department. Port Police have held 2 training sessions with various airport employees focused on how to report trafficking. In partnership with BEST, we've also offered a series of trainings and strategy workshops for the airport and maritime tenants ahead of the tournament kickoff. These trainings provide attendees the skills to develop their own internal policies and train their employees on ways to combat trafficking. We have had representatives from 33 different businesses attend these trainings. We are laser focused on being ready for the games and into the future. This work lives beyond the tournament itself and will help us continue to disrupt trafficking through our gateways, which is why we'll continue convening leaders and allies in the anti-human trafficking space and use every tool at our disposal to make a difference. I want to take a moment to thank our teams across the port and all of our partners who committed to this work, including BEST, the Seattle Police Department, as well as our own very Port of Seattle Police Department. And once again, encourage those who may be listening to reach out and see how you can learn more or implement practices in your community. With that, I'm pleased to invite Deputy Chief Andre Sales to speak on behalf of the Seattle Police Department. Chief?
Good morning. My name is Deputy Chief Andre Sales with the Seattle Police Department. I'm here today to talk about the important work our detectives do on a daily basis for survivors of human trafficking. There's all kinds of support out through this community for human trafficking survivors. We have been doing this work for over a year for the influx of people coming into the Seattle area for FIFA World Cup events. At the Seattle Police Department, we have a full-time human trafficking detectives who address all forms of human trafficking, including sexual exploitation and forced labor. Our detectives and officers are often on the streets working along the Aurora Avenue North Corridor and other locations throughout the city of Seattle. They also work on complex cases and often recover survivors and connect them with the service providers we are working closely with today. The work these detectives do can make a life or death difference in the people's lives that we survive and work with. To prepare for the FIFA events, our human trafficking unit for nearly over a year has been planning operations with local, state, and federal partners. We have also been providing training to our patrol officers and other units within the Seattle Police Department to be on the lookout for possible human trafficking. While I cannot speak on the details, what we are planning, I can say we are ready, whether it's recovering human trafficking survivors, holding offenders accountable, or partnering with other agencies or nonprofits. The Seattle Police Department is prepared to protect our most vulnerable victims. Our department and city are excited and ready for these events. We're incredibly grateful for the work our detectives do and our officers do on a daily basis. We're confident with us working with our partners, we'll keep survivors safe and put people responsible for human trafficking behind bars. Thank you. I think next we have Kristen Foote.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Foote, CEO and Executive Director of Businesses Ending Slavery and Trafficking, BEST. it is a delight for Best and an honor to be having partnered with the Port of Seattle and the Seattle World Cup Organizing Committee, local organizing committee, who will follow me. In these last months, in 11, 12 months now, we have been working intensively with both of these fantastic cornerstones of our local anti-trafficking efforts to provide opportunities for employers in the private sector and public sector to proactively work to deter human trafficking, to actually prevent human trafficking. As traffickers look at businesses and public sector entity premises as places and people they can co-opt to exploit for their own illegal profiteering. So we work with employers to help them see how they can, in direct ways, prevent human trafficking by making it far more risky and costly for the traffickers. We work on prevention so that Seattle PD has less work to do. When prevention works and traffickers are deterred, there are fewer instances of exploitation. I'm delighted to explain that today we can count back over the last 11 months when the Seattle Local Organizing Committee, in preparation for FIFA, launched the first of its 3 main events, followed by the Port of Seattle's 4 events with Best for prevention through businesses, and see that there are over 75 employers from across Western Washington that have been activated to take a step of prevention that the vast majority had never taken before. So maybe 2 or 3 of those 75 plus employers had ever done anything preventative against trafficking, and in the last 11 months, more than 75 have. That's a fantastic shift in a prevention mindset from Bellingham all the way down to Vancouver, Washington, from Olympia in the east all the way over to Yakima. You can see the cities, just some of the cities represented that these 75 employers come from, thanks to the Port of Seattle and thanks to the local organizing committee here in Seattle preparing for our World Cup. Those 75 employers represent more than 20 industries summarized on this sign. The industries, as you see, span a wide array of different kinds of business and social services and government agencies that are absolutely essential for our entire region. That's really significant because U.S. Department of Justice has found forced labor and commercial sexual exploitation victims in over 25 different industries. So here in Western Washington, we're close to activating across all those industries. Human traffickers look at every business premise, every government agency even, as a place where they could hide their victims, conduct their illicit deals, figure out ways to make more money, and we're here to help the employer leaders stop that before it happens. Then train their staff to be eyes and ears when it is happening so that there's a rapid response that's effective and coordinated with appropriate law enforcement in the city that they're located in. So happy to say there's really good work underway. There's so much more that needs to be done. There are a few people from various employers that have said to us in the context of this year, we didn't know businesses could do anything. We thought countering human trafficking was just up to law enforcement. And the message I want to get across loud and clear is every business can do something to prevent human trafficking. Deterrence is possible if you're equipped to do that, and Best is here to support any public-facing employer in developing its own strategy for what it can do with its staff, its location, its operations to be strategically proactive against this. And when we do this as a region, when there is collective effort toward prevention, the sky's the limit in terms of what can happen to deter traffickers, to tell traffickers, Seattle is not the place, Western Washington is not the place, this is too expensive, too risky, don't do it. Get out of the business, right? We are here to drive traffickers out of business, and we are so happy for the partnerships we have with the Port of Seattle, Seattle Local Organizing Committee, and many other entities that have been working collectively over this last year to do exactly that. So, grateful for this opportunity, happy to take questions afterwards.
I've repeatedly asked to not have to follow Kirsten on anything, but my name is Leo Floor. I work for Seattle FWC 26. We are the nonprofit local organizing committee responsible to plan and coordinate preparations for the World Cup coming here to our city, and then to create a legacy that lasts beyond the tournament so that it helps our community for years to come. I'm going to use 2 sports metaphors and then talk about something that's much more important than sports. First, Soccer is the ultimate team sport, and it is appropriate that it is a team of organizations that are coming here today to talk about what it takes to prevent and to end human trafficking. And we need to prevent and end human trafficking. First, I want to thank the Port for being a tremendous partner. Commissioner Cho has been a long-time leader in this work. He's also a member of our Human Rights Advisory Committee at the local organizing committee. I want to thank BEST. You couldn't ask for a better partner than BEST in doing the work that we've been doing for 12 months to help our community be ready. We have a lot more folks who are not in the room. We have law enforcement, we have first responders, we have businesses, many of whom that you see here listed. We have tribal nations that are working on a version, a very particular version of human trafficking prevention around missing and murdered Indigenous women and people. Our partners at the Puyallup Tribe of Indians are doing tremendous work there. Our State Attorney General's office is doing tremendous work there. And what all of this shows us is that, as Kirsten said, every person in this room and every person watching on TV or on their computer not only has the opportunity to help end and prevent human trafficking, but I think the responsibility to help prevent and end human trafficking. Second sports metaphor. You'll hear any number of people say something to the effect that you win the game by how you practice. Prevention and preparation are how we will succeed in preventing and ending human trafficking. And so I want to talk about the World Cup as a moment that is neither the beginning nor the end of our work. The World Cup presents us with an opportunity. It presents us with perhaps more attention than is typically afforded. But we have to use this moment to make sure that we as a community for the long haul are doing the important and difficult work of training businesses, training community members, building the relationships with law enforcement and community-based organizations to ensure that we can deter human trafficking, because we all know what it looks like to take those steps that make the spaces we work and live in inhospitable to traffickers. So we will succeed over the long term because of the training that we do now. Our measure of success certainly will be in prevention of human trafficking, which happens individual by individual during the World Cup. But I think we have a much more ambitious and important goal here, which is that we will get better and better at making our entire region inhospitable to traffickers for years to come. And if the World Cup is the moment that we seize to really kick that effort into a higher gear, then I can think of no more important thing that we could accomplish as a community when hundreds of thousands of people come to visit us here in just over 30 days, and hundreds of millions of people are tuning in to what we're doing here in Seattle and in the region. So again, thank you very much to the Port. Thank you to our partners in law enforcement. Thank you to our partners at BEST who do tremendous training. We have 2,000 licenses available for any individual or organization to take BEST's online human trafficking prevention right now. If you go to our website at seattlefwc26.org and go to our resources tab, you can pull down the code to take one of BEST's trainings right now for free. 2,000 people could take that step right now. That's a challenge I want to issue to the community and to our team. Let's use those 2,000 licenses and let's create 2,000 more spaces that are inhospitable to traffickers when they come to our city and our community here in a month. Thanks very much. I think I'm turning it back over to the Commissioner.
Thank you, Leo, and thank you again for everyone who attended today. I'm happy to take questions and maybe pawn off some questions to my colleagues here who are probably far more of an expert than I am.
I have a question, I think, probably for the police.
Yeah, please. If we want someone from the SPD to join us up here real quick.
Could you give us a better sense of what it is you're looking for? What's different about a World Cup? I'm assuming SPDs are talking to previous World Cup with cities. What are the patterns of human trafficking that are different than what you normally see every day around here? What are you on the lookout for you've seen elsewhere?
I think one of the biggest things that we're going to look for is the influx of people. So we're looking at hundreds of thousands of other people coming into the community. We're looking at where we see more activities located around hotels, things of that nature, where people may be having hotels for short periods of times and moving around. So our detectives have been working on that, looking at ways to combat that. A lot of this stuff is information that we can't really release out because our job is to, what we talk about, prevention. So we want to have our investigative tools close to our chest, so therefore we can continue to do what we're doing previously, before the event, during the events, and after the events.
But are there international networks that you've got an eye on? I mean, this would be public record, but if they were busted last time, the last World Cup or something, are there sort of organizations that are sort of have red flags on them?
I don't have the organization names right off the top of my head, but there are organizations that we have been identified and been spotted that we're working with our federal partners with. So some of that information, like I said, we can't release that just because it is involved in some of our ongoing investigations that we're going to have previously to the FIFA Cup events happening.
Can you be specific about what the general public should be on the lookout and small businesses when it comes to trafficking, and how to report it if they see something suspicious?
So I really couldn't hear you because there's a nice waterfall going back there, but I think what you said to me was, what can the community look for? So some of the things that we can look for when we have people that are older of age walking around with younger females, or people that are of different sex, people that are looking tired, looking like they haven't had a good meal or sleep in a very long time, being cautious of that, understanding that, giving us a call. We never want anyone not to call us. The more calls we get, the better we can do our job.
And how to report it?
You can always report it through our Seattle dispatch number, or you can also call 911. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Captain Nelson, we have QR codes that's going out, and we're going to have a hotline set up for that.
Yeah, definitely. The best reporting is through 911.
So utilize our 911 number that we have throughout the city.
And if I can just follow up on some of the cues one might look for in the public, the Deputy Chief mentioned, a huge age disparity between a young lady and their handler, but there are also behavioral signs as well. When you ask someone a question, they're instructed not to speak, and maybe they're being spoken for, maybe they're not making eye contact. So there are subtle social cues that you can look out for that will become very obvious. Right? And so I think this is where the training is so important, because the training really trains you to look for those cues and those signs that really are indicators of a person being potentially trafficked. Thank you. Any other questions?
Will businesses have any signs or flyers to try to raise awareness as far as informing the public of certain things to watch out for?
Yeah, so obviously the businesses have a resource a free resource in terms of receiving the training. The signs that we have at the airport, I'm sure we can probably make them available to any business that reaches out and wants to post those. And so I think that's a great suggestion, and we can certainly make the signs that we have available to those who might want to also put those up in their businesses as well.
I'd be happy to speak to that further.
Yeah, and if Kristen wants to come up and speak a little further about what they have in terms of resources.
Everyone who completes Best Basics training, any employer, any one of their staff, has access to a variety of materials that are downloadable or distributable, things to be posted in employee workrooms that are indicators of the mechanisms of human trafficking. Best actually emphasizes those behavioral indicators that have to do with ways that force, fraud, and coercion, the legal mechanisms of human trafficking, get enacted between a controller and their victim. There are observable behaviors, and those are all laid out in indicator posters for backroom. There are a number of victim-addressed signs that are also available for download from Best's website for anyone. So please feel free to contact my colleague Mami, Owusu, or myself. We'll send you the links that can be forwarded. Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen. Any other questions? Yes. Sorry, we'll go with the young lady here first.
So I want to ask you about public awareness resources.
Yes.
I know that you mentioned multi-language signage.
Yes.
But, I live in South Seattle. I'm from the Emerald, and this is like really diverse group of people
Yeah.
all over the world who have different barriers, language, technology, etc.
Right.
So what kind of extension of access to reporting and
Yeah, obviously part of the reason that we have multiple languages, up to 8 languages as far as the signs are concerned, is because of the very reason that you articulated. The reason those 8 languages were picked was because those are the most commonly spoken languages, not just in the region, but from the countries that human trafficking happens the most, right? Really, those are for the victims, right? And then obviously you have resources like a hotline, as well as the QR code. I understand not everyone might have a smartphone to use a QR code, but the hotline, the anti-human trafficking hotline, and then obviously, as SPD said, 911 is another resource, right? And so I think between those different mediums of communication, we've covered about the vast majority of different ways to communicate and report human trafficking, whether you're a victim or someone who has a suspicion of human trafficking. Yeah.
My question was similar to that. We're going to have probably a lot of tourists that
Right.
speak Farsi, Arabic,
Yeah.
different languages, so access to
Right. Any other questions? Great, oh, yeah.
Will we expect to see more police patrol at different times of the day or just around the events?
So my understanding is that not just, and I'm sure the Deputy Chief has some comments on this too, but the entire region has been working to coordinate security protocols around the entire World Cup, not just around human trafficking, right? So it's not just human trafficking that SPD is focused on, obviously, it's other activities, potential terrorist activities and whatnot. And so the heightened alert will exist, during the entire duration of the World Cup. If Deputy Chief, you want, if I missed anything, yeah, Captain, if you want to come up and provide any further details.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dan Nelson. I'm a captain with the Seattle Police Department, and I am in charge of FIFA planning for the department. To answer your question directly, yes, there will be a lot of extra law enforcement personnel in the footprint on game days and also on kind of the shoulder days. We need to understand and recognize that while the main draw is game day activities at the stadium, at all of our fan celebration sites, we are going to have people visiting our region for an extended period of time, and so we need to make sure we have resources available to meet those needs. Deployment's going to look different. There's going to be a lot of different agencies. We're working with very gracious for all the mutual aid support from local agencies around the area. From as far away as the Spokane Valley Police Department, the City of Kennewick is sending officers over. I want to thank Sheriff Cole Tyndall and Under Sheriff Floor. They've been tremendous partners. Our friends at the State Patrol. It's going to be a real patch collection in and around the city of Seattle of various law enforcement agencies doing a variety of different missions. But yes, there will be a lot of extra resources.
Captain Nelson, can you put a number on that mutual aid, how many more uniforms?
Yeah, it depends on the day, obviously, because a lot of agencies have their own things happening in their own backyards. And so we're anticipating about 50 non-SPD officers in the footprint a day, again, not counting again, our partners from the King County Sheriff's Office. So it's going to be kind of a patchwork of different personnel on different days. Sir?
undercover agents.
Undercover agents, yes. So situational awareness is a very important component and really drives to, again, what we're talking about today is identifying those clues, those behavioral signs that we talked about earlier to recognize victims of human trafficking and other illegal behavior, so they are part of our deployment.
All right, is that it? Great, thank you all again for coming. And if I can have the speakers from a few minutes ago come up for a quick photo, we'll conclude.